the source of all joy is within himself. And also we learn that self is beyond past and present, future, beyond past and future, right and wrong, cause and effect. And also Yama revealed that it is the home which is the highest, which reverberates in all our hearts, on knowing which all the longings are fulfilled. Now in chapter 1, Canto 2, verse 18, the all-knowing self was never born, nor will it die. Beyond cause and effect, the self is eternal and immutable. When the body dies, the self does not die. If the slayer believes that he can kill, or the slain believes that he can be killed, neither knows the truth. The eternal self slays not, nor is ever slain. So the all-knowing self can never be born, or it will never die. When the body dies, it does not die. Verse 19 says that if a killer thinks that he kills, and if a killed man thinks that he has been killed, then both are not true, because the self cannot be killed and it will not kill. I understood this better when I got the knowledge that this verse was told in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna by Krishna. So Bhagavad Gita is Hindu's sacred text, which is told by Krishna to Arjuna. So Arjuna doesn't, in the battlefield, Arjuna hesitates to fight because he is fighting against his own brothers, family, teachers. So, that is when Krishna tells Arjuna that you are not the killer. I mean, you cannot kill or you cannot be killed. So that makes us understand this verse better. And also this verse also helped me so once we start meditating, we have situations where we become aware of certain, when you're put in a certain situation, you become aware, but you don't know what you have to be next. So that's when I remind myself of this, and I tell myself, if I have a teacher in front of me, then I'm the student, and if I have a student in front of me, then I pretend to be a teacher. So that is how this verse is kind of helped me in using it in my life. What it means is that you are not the doer. Verse 20, hidden in the heart of every creature exists the self, subtler than the subtlest, greater than the greatest. They go beyond all sorrow who extinguish their self will and behold the glory of self through the grace of the Lord of love. It's hidden in the heart of every creature. It is subtler than the subtlest. It must be very subtle, because a single tiny little thought can take us away from ourselves. So it must definitely be very subtle, and it's in all of us, but still all our life we try to search for the self. So and also it is greater than the greatest. And when one has no more desires, when his intelligence is not distracted by any external objects, when the need of having any kind of a thought becomes pointless, that is when one understands that he is the self and beholds the glory of the self. Verse 21, though one sits in meditation in a particular place, the self within can exercise his influence far away. Though still, he moves everything everywhere. When the wise realize the self, formless in the midst of forms, changeless in the midst of change, omnipresent and supreme. They go beyond sorrow. The self is all prevailing and is omnipresent. So though it is still, it's everywhere. Its influence is far away. When a wise man realizes that he is not the body in which he lives, then he goes beyond sorrow and suffering. The self cannot be known through study of scriptures, nor through the intellect, nor through hearing discourses about it. The self can be attained only by those whom the self chooses. Verily unto them does the self reveal himself. The self cannot be just known by studying through scriptures or through intellect or just by hearing to courses. Here, when they say the self can be attained only by those whom the self chooses, what it means is that one has to make the choice, make a very serious choice to know the self. That is when the self reveals itself. The self cannot be known by anyone who does not from unrighteous ways, controls not the senses, stills not the mind, and practices not meditation. Not just that we have to choose to know the self. In order to know the self, one must be of a good conduct, should have a good moral, should have control over his senses, all his senses, should be able to still his mind, he should know how to bring his mind in rest. So we all know through meditation how to still the mind. Who then knows where he is? He to whom Brahmins and Kshatriyas are mere food and death itself a condiment. So in verse 25, Yama is, Brahmins here means that spiritual strength, and Kshatriya means physical strength. Yama is telling that to the self, both the knowledge and all the physical powers is food, and death itself is like a pickle. What it means is all of the physical powers and the knowledge, everything comes out of him and goes back to him. In this Canto 3, verse 1, in the secret cave of the heart, two are seated by life's fountain. The separate ego drinks of the sweet and bitter stuff, liking the sweet, disliking the bitter, while the Supreme Self drinks sweet and bitter, neither liking this nor disliking that. The ego gropes in darkness, while the self lives in light. So declared the illumined sages and the householders who worship the sacred fire in the name of the Lord. In the start of the verse, Yama says that in our hearts, okay, we have two things. One is the ego, and the other is the higher self. The ego feels good about the sweetness of the life and dislikes the bitterness of the life. But for the higher self, there is no good or bad. It doesn't like or dislike anything. So the illumined sages and the realized householders have declared that it is the light and the other is the shadow of the light. So there are no two things. It is one thing and the other is the projection of the one. We'll stop here in Canto 3, verse 1. So in today's readings, the main insight was that there is no good or bad. There is nothing to like, dislike, or we don't do anything or nothing is done to us. It's all the game of our mind and thoughts. So when our mind slowly comes to rest, we slowly start realizing our true nature, and it would help us to consciously cultivate these attitudes, our feelings, until we open to our own true nature. These were my thoughts. So now is your time, Masters. Feel free to discuss your insights, experiences. Thank you for listening. Thanks for the opportunity.
Hope you are able to hear my voice, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Now I can see that we are going deeper and deeper to the concepts, and I really like with the first thing that you have started itself about the soul, that it can neither be destroyed nor untouched. Soul is always eternal, and you started then to speak about even in order to touch the soul, what all the things that we have to do, to understand about ourselves. We have to go deep within ourselves. And thank you so much for the beautiful sharings. And looking forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you. Is Ramji, Madhu ma'am?
Namaste, Raksha ji.
Namaste.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for these beautiful sharings. The meditation was also very wonderful. And what a knowledge that is coming through. It is wonderful. In that short sharings that you have done, you have shared a lot. And you spoke about when there is a teacher, be a student. When there is a student, be a teacher. It was such a powerful thought. And we all need to be like water, behave depending upon the situation, be everything. So that's so deep. And then you spoke about we need to be serious. It is only for those who are serious that the self is revealed. This is not a funny matter. What we are doing is the most serious thing. Sincerity and seriousness, these are the two basic things for each one of the seekers. This cannot be a part-time job. When we are in this path, this is the path. Not because we have a half an hour time in the evening, half an hour time in the morning, and we have nothing to do, we just try to do this. No, it is for everyone who are here. They are here because they are serious. And that seriousness and that sincerity is what are the qualities that are going to help us in this path. And all those qualities which you have shared that one need to possess, including meditation, are so very important so that we excel in this path. So very grateful to you. You are sharing wonderful, wonderful things, helping each one of us to realign ourselves. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ramji. It's the Upanishad sharing. It's Yama trying to share these things with us, the time itself, sharing these things to us. Something which the story started with something like you are giving away something which is of waste to you, and then it is all turned out to be such wonderful information, such wonderful wisdom that we are all getting out of the useless cows that Nachiketa thought the cows were of no use, but on donating the same useless cows, we have all got this wonderful knowledge, wisdom. Thank you. Yes, Nalini ji. Nalini ji, you're still muted. You're still muted, Nalini ji.
Take anyone's experience as well, Raksha ji. Anyone wants to share, my dear friends?
Hi, Raksha. I think you're doing a wonderful job sharing. I know they seem simple, but it's complex yet simple. The way you're explaining, they're very deep, deep thoughts and wonderful teaching that you're doing for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mridula. Do we have any more sharings, Masters? Thank you. Thanks for all the messages in the chat box. Nilima, if we have no more sharing, do we have any announcements?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you all for joining, my dear friends. So we keep updating about the evening session update in the WhatsApp group. Probably it should be by me. And however, we keep updating. And thank you so much, friends. Thank you all for joining. And thank you so much, Raksha. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you.